Board of Commissioners agenda setting meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 8th, and the time is 5:32. Would the city clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Lister?
Here.
Commissioner Hodges?
Here.
Commissioner Poe?
Here.
Commissioner Shantz?
Here.
Mayor Palladino?
Here. Mr. City Manager, would you mind walking us through this?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And again, if there's something on here you don't want to talk about, or if there is something that you do and it's not on here, please let us know. But we've got quite a bit of stuff going on. So item number A, we need to kind of get back on the same page in regards to undergrounding our utilities, and Steve Tart from CPWG will be here to kind of walk us through that. He's got new cost proposals and wants to kind of just walk you through the relationship between burying the utility and the Gulf Boulevard project. If you remember, we're going to do, he's actually now lap certified, and we'll end up doing the work after DOT gives us the money, and that way we can coordinate all this and get a better price. The lease for your Fantasy Planet building is going to expire soon, so this is up for renewal. Staff has a recommendation to renew it with a short escalator in it. Items C and D were requests from Commissioner Poe in regards to short-term rentals and that whole issue, and then the sober house issue. Item E, and if you remember this, we just kind of went through this drama of getting two appointees to the library board. Mr. Brian Borneman is no longer able to serve, so we need somebody to finish his term. And unfortunately, the luck of the draw was he had the longer term. Mr. Kochek had the shorter one. So in a matter of a couple of months, we'll be advertising yet for another one. If Mr. Kochek's interested, he can certainly apply again. But we have to get that filled because of the void that Brian Borneman created. Discussion on an RFP for land lease at the north end of Village Boulevard for outdoor seating. We were actually requested to take a look at that, and we'll have to get some pictures or maybe even do a site visit. But there's a portion of property that you own just north of John's Pass, right in front of the Bamboo Beer Garden. Can't be more in front of there. And it's just shrubbery and some palm trees, and you could decide to clean that up and lease that out to, we'll put it out on RFP and lease that out in case any one of those restaurants wanted to use it for like a nice patio seating. Right now, it's just wasted space. So we'll have pictures, and we'll have all that ready for you so you can take a look at that. Discussion on increase in fees for business tax receipts. That's a relatively minor thing, but we haven't adjusted it, Amy, in 2007. And I believe you can either adjust it 3 or 5%, 5% every year. So the difference is literally a couple of $1,000s for the city. So if you decide, hey, let's cut them a break, we don't have to adjust it, but it hasn't been adjusted in some time, and so staff recommendation is to take a look at that. Discussion on establishing the Board of Commissioners 2014-2015 policy handbook, and if you remember, we do that after the election every year. Amy and I have reviewed it as a team and have basically some housekeeping changes to it, but nothing of any significant nature. But between now and then, if you do have half an hour of your life, go ahead and read that document. If you don't have it, in fact, Amy, maybe we can just email it to them all so you have that. And if something sticks out and you wonder why that is, give us a call. Maybe we can, Amy and I can fill you in on some of that stuff before the meeting. But again, from our standpoint, it's just a housekeeping issue. Item I was tickled, I think, by you, and when I say tickled, meaning that, we went ahead and approved something, and then we tickled it for a 6-month review or a 12-month review or whatever the case may be. I don't know if we've ever parked an RV in John's Pass parking lot, and so it's completely up to you if you want to undesignate those spots for RV parking. They tend to, an RV, they tend to want to park at the marina a lot. I mean, we park them, we just don't park them in John's Pass Park. So if that's an adjustment you want to make, fine. If you want to leave it alone, have at it. Discussion on potential debt issue related to stormwater drainage and roadway improvement projects. This is more or less of a, Vince, help me out here, it's to cover ourselves in the event, in case we wanted to issue debt service for like a road project or those types of things. The monies that we're spending now, we could actually pay ourselves back with debt service. Doesn't mean you're borrowing money for roads, it doesn't mean that you're borrowing money for anything, it's just kind of, just in case type resolution or an idea. Item K is in regards to Don's Dock, and everybody knows what that's all about. I've spoken to you individually about it, so we'll have some conversations in regards to that. And item L is basically what you'd have to maybe consider trading in from a budgetary standpoint to get that done. I think you're probably, from a capital project standpoint, at a tit-for-tat type juncture. So if it's something that you want to proceed with, I think we need to subtract some things out of the budget that you may not view as important as that property acquisition. So we'll have all that ready for you as well. Vince and I have a couple of creative ways you could go about buying it if you wanted to. But again, I think you have to subtract some of these other ones out. And then finally, and it's not on your agenda, is staff is going to request a referral on the spec approval for the replacement of the docks at the city marina. Everybody knows Dave Marscano is still out on leave from his medical issues. And I'm just not comfortable moving ahead without him being involved at this point. So we're going to ask that you talk about that as well at the workshop.
Right, thank you, Mr. City Manager. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of, for the agenda for the April 22nd workshop.
I so move, Mr. Mayor. I second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the agenda?
I'd like to,
Mr. Hodges?
I would like to know if we can add something to it.
Of course.
I know it's going to be a long meeting that day, but one more thing, if we can. I noticed that we have those lighted signs on 150th saying to watch out for pedestrians crossing Gulf Boulevard and everywhere out throughout the city. I've witnessed a couple of things on Gulf Boulevard in the last 2 weeks, and I think that we need to actually educate these people somehow regarding the crosswalks.
I don't want to jump in front of you. Literally, the mayor and I just came from a meeting in Reddington that was held by the sheriff, and it literally addresses exactly what you're asking for. So the sheriff's department is going to go on and almost like an educational campaign, and I think it's fair to say, Mayor, you're going to see a lot more people pulled over, whether or not they're getting real live tickets or written warnings. But the sheriff's department has viewed this as a priority throughout the county, and he's going to address it with no extra charge to the beach communities. I think it was spurred. We've had a couple of fatalities as of late, but it's just ironic that you bring that up, because that's exactly what he and his staff are going to be doing.
Okay, because, I was saying, to educate them, and you can't, I don't know any other way to do it, but I was thinking that if they're going to come in and check into the motels and hotels, why can't they, at the time when they check in, they get a pamphlet? Now, these are the restaurants, these are the attractions, these are the safety features you need to follow crossing the street.
Sure. Yeah.
Something like that, just to give to them to see, It was kind of hairy a couple times.
Oh, there's been
Yeah, it's
some
very near misses.
some
And
bad
not only
ones, yeah.
pedestrians, you can get rear-ended very easy, because people are just stepping off the curb anywhere
Well, that's
and
just
crossing.
it. So they press the light, and then the world is supposed to stop, and they can cross the street. And it's like, the rules of looking both ways, when we all were told when we were 3 years old that crossing the street kind of go out the window, because these lights now are magically flashing. So they're going to adjust a couple of things, and if we wanted to do some additional education, we certainly could do that. But I think the sheriff said within the next couple of weeks he's going to literally launch a campaign. As far as I've seen him do like commercials and that type of media exposure. The mayor suggested Bay News 9, who's always been a friend of the sheriff down here. So if you want to do something more than that, we can. But it'll cost us money, and I think my recommendation would be maybe wait it out and see what the sheriff's department puts together, and we can, in 3 months, reevaluate it. In fact, Mayor, maybe I stepped on it here a little bit.
That's okay, but I'll inform Commissioner Hodges as soon as you're done.
Yeah, I think they were going to wait, though, for the next peak, in the tourist season. But I mean, they're going to start cracking down big time. What we're just.
But you know, I've seen more people jaywalking
That's what it is.
on the boulevard.
They're gonna,
Recently, I
they're gonna,
mean-
they're talking about getting them too. In fact, I know Deputy Luckett is here. I think they spent the weekend, a bunch of CPOs on mountain bikes writing tickets for jaywalkers in St. Pete Beach. So, I mean, I think the word will get out, and I think the sheriff took the position that just more presence, and frankly, you see a couple of cars pulled over every once in a while, you're gonna think twice about, blowing that, crosswalk or whatever.
And actually, Commissioner Hodges, the city manager is correct, we just met with the sheriff's department. I know that Deputy Leckett's already actually been doing this, he's actually been doing some patrols by the crosswalks, doing some pullovers, informing people and then educating people. What we've been doing, working with the Big C, what the next steps we're moving on, and Mayor Queen brought this up at the last Big C meeting, is putting things on the back of hotel room doors, educational things about how the crosswalks work, to look when you push the buttons, using the flags, and I know there's some questions about the crosswalk flags, so I know the city manager and myself had a few discussions on that. If they work, if they don't work, I think anything you do to make yourself more visible is a plus on Gulf Boulevard. But the sheriff's department, and once again, Deputy Luckett, I'd just like to acknowledge you, because when everybody was sitting there talking about which way direction to go and what's going on, you've already started what they're already talking about trying to do in the next week or two. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. So if you'd like, and Mr. City Manager, I think it might be great if maybe Deputy Luckett, since he's kind of heading all this up for the city of Madeira Beach, maybe do at the next workshop, do kind of an update, what's happened with the sheriff's department, if they've gone ahead and issued more tickets. Maybe we can get a number of tickets that have been written or warnings. Is that something that's possible to do to
Oh,
add to
sure.
that workshop?
Can we
a
queue it
quick
up after this
presentation?
one? We'll do it in May?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that, would that make,
That's
is that
fine.
good with you?
Sure, that's fine.
So we'll make that on the May workshop
Certainly.
for a presentation? Because then we'll be rolling into summer and probably be looking at the same programs.
Well, right now, we only got about 2 more weeks left of the season, and then
And it slows down,
And
but
it slows
I
down,
think
yeah.
it's what you've seen even during slow season this year. Everybody was packed. Everybody had outstanding business. So as Pinellas County keeps evolving into a bigger tourist destination,
Right.
I think you're going to I think the low period is going to disappear. And it's always going to be something happening. And it's just going to be a little more certain times of year than other times of year. So, great observation, Commissioner. All right, is there anything else? We got an agenda. We got a motion on the floor. City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Lister?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
Commissioner Poe?
Yes.
Commissioner Shantz?
Yes.
Mayor Palladino?
Yes. All right.
Wear comfortable shoes that day, folks. That's gonna be a long one. Couple hours.
All right. Seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 5:45.